There is a kind of silence that is louder than noise. Have you ever been in a room full of people and still felt completely alone? That's the sound of silence, not the absence of noise, but the presence of something deeper. A silence that speaks when people stop calling, when answers don't come, when life goes quiet in ways you did not expect. But what if silence is not emptiness? What if silence is a message? Today let's talk about the sound of silence, what it means in life. In everyday life, silence can feel uncomfortable. We live in a world full of noise, phones, music, opinions, conversations, distractions. Noise makes us feel busy, noise makes us feel important, noise makes us feel alive. But silence forces us to face ourselves. Silence is where truth shows up. It is where you hear the thoughts you've been avoiding. It is where unresolved pain begins to speak. It is where you realize who is truly for you, and who is only around for convenience. Sometimes silence comes when relationships change. Sometimes it comes when opportunities close. Sometimes it comes when life slows down and you feel forgotten. But here is the revelation. Silence is not always rejection. Sometimes silence is reflection. Sometimes silence is protection. And sometimes silence is preparation. Because when everything gets quiet, you start hearing what really matters. Silence can affect us deeply. It can feel lonely, it can feel confusing, it can feel like you are being overlooked or abandoned, but silence also has power. Silence teaches patience, silence builds emotional strength, silence reveals character, silence shows you who you are when nobody is watching. Some people run from silence because they are afraid of what it will reveal, but the people who grow learn to sit in silence and listen, because silence is not empty. Silence is full of messages. Now let's go deeper. Spiritually, silence has a voice. In the Bible, God did not always speak through earthquakes and fire. Sometimes he spoke through a still small voice. There are seasons when God seems quiet, when prayers feel unanswered, when direction feels unclear. But God's silence does not mean God's absence. Sometimes God becomes silent because he is working behind the scenes. Sometimes he becomes silent because he wants you to grow in faith. Sometimes he becomes silent so you can finally hear him without distractions. Silence is often where spiritual transformation happens. It is in silence that you examine your heart. It is in silence that conviction comes. It is in silence that clarity is born. It is in silence that God prepares you for the next level. The problem is, we often mistake silence for abandonment, but heaven's silence is often preparation. So, what do you do when life becomes silent? Do not panic. Do not assume the worst. Do not run back to noise just to feel something. Instead, listen. Listen to what life is teaching you. Listen to what your spirit is revealing. Listen to what God may be saying quietly. Because sometimes the greatest revelations do not come in noise, they come in silence. If you are in a silent season right now, you are not alone. Silence does not mean your story is over. It may mean your next chapter is being written. The sound of silence might be the sound of growth, the sound of healing, the sound of God preparing you. If this message spoke to you, comment below, "I'm listening." And subscribe to Amazing Revelations for more messages that awaken, strengthen, and transform your life. From your host, Mike Pudi.